Hello everyone, this is Frozgard speaking. I'm your new trial audio commentator for WCR Replace.com, and I'm gonna be doing the orc audio commentaries, or at least helping the orc audio commentaries, along with Jörg and Volander, of course. How can I forget Volander? So this audio commentary is copyrighted 2006 by WCR Replace.com, and don't go stealing it, otherwise Mr. Cygnus is gonna come after you to bitch slap you. So, right off the bat, let's get this game paused at the 1 minute mark. And yeah, this is gonna be between SK Insomnia and Mim Ciara. Well, Chiara, or however you say it. I mean, it's actually probably from an Italian inspiration, and you would say Chiara or something like that. Anyways, so while you get there, a bit about myself. So I've been doing member audio commentaries for quite a while now, and I've done quite a lot of them. And you can find them in the member audio commentary section of the site. And I would like to use this opportunity as well to give a big shout out to all the people who did member commentaries on the forum, because those people, I mean, they just give a lot of themselves and they show a lot of their own insight into games. It's really interesting, and it's it's a big effort, and there's I mean, I would really love it if it got a bit more appreciation. So if you guys want, just go and check out the forums and go into the member audio commentary section and check out the guys there. I mean, there's some really good audio commentaries. So, after this bit of advertising, let's get this game on pause. So I've got it in observer's point of view and pause at the 1 minute mark. And so let's get this rumbling. So let's unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. So SK Insomnia spawning on the left in gray. You notice something special about his build order is that he put up altar and then the lumber mill and then a farm and then only the barracks. Why? Well, I mean, I don't read Insomnia's mind, but there are several things that the early lumber mill helps with. First of all, it lets you creep with militia a bit more liberally, and you can still tech really, really fast, because your peons won't have as much way to travel back to the main hall, and so they will harvest, I mean, their efficiency at harvesting lumber is increased, and so you'll be able to tech faster while still using militia to creep. And the other thing is that he may have thought at the start that he was going to be able to fast expand. This would have worked if Theada would have gone Blade Master. Against a Farseer user, it's much harder to fast expand. Against Blade Master, it's a bit easier. So right now they scout each other out. Insomnia sees it's a Farseer, and so he's gonna go creep. And I mean, Ciara does the same thing. Yeah, apart from that, not much going on, except for the fact that you see that with the water elemental, one militia and that footman, which was actually like more going towards a peon, like Insomnia is able to creep this out really, really easily. Now Ciara, of course, attacking already while he finished the creepster, and he's gonna go straight for his little murlocs, because maybe he wants to get an EXP tome or something. So let's check the tech on both sides. I mean, it's like actually Insomnia has teched faster than Ciara, whereas normally humans, well, they tech at least a little bit slower than orcs, and this in addition to having an arcane tower. I mean, it's not like he skipped a tower to have more wood at the start or something like that, but he just did like a normal tech and everything, except that he teched a bit faster with the lumber mill. He creeps out the mercenary camp with a lot of militia. I don't remember how much exactly, but I guess he had 5. Yeah, 5. and that's pretty good because it gives you a decent item and gives you access to the creeps, to the mercenaries, which is kind of useful. Siada, in the meantime, he was checking whether Insomnia was trying to make a fast expansion, and he arrived on the spot. It wasn't crept, so he thought, okay, well, Insomnia must be creeping somewhere. So in order not to lose too much time, well, he crept this himself. Because otherwise, I mean, what if Insomnia was creeping, for example, say the merchant shop, and or I don't know, down left or somewhere where he wouldn't find them for ages, and then suddenly Insomnia's hero would be level 3 and he would still be level 1. So he comes to harass Insomnia's base. He was probably like checking whether there was gonna go a shop that was going up or something, and he wanted to know where Sierra was and everything. And actually attacking the opponent's base is a decent way of like knowing where opponent is, because in that case he will have to come back. Well, many times he will have to come back, not always. And Insomnia is able to push this off quite easily, and also get a bit of experience so that he actually gets to level 3. And usually this is really, really bad for Orc against human if the human manages to get to level 3 before tier 2, because then he will have those 675 HP water elementals, and they tank a lot, and they do like pretty much 40 damage, and they're really, really strong. So if the human does a tier 2 push, then it's much, much harder for the Orc. So Siada is sort of waiting at Insomnia's base to check whether the shop will go up, whether he will try and put some tier 2 buildings up, but apparently nothing is happening like that. And so he's just hitting on the first building that's out there, which is the altar, and there's actually a Mountain King, so that's really, really bad because of the bolts around, of course. He was trying to block off his own Farseer with his Grunster so that when the effects from the bolt get stop, then you can move your Grunt and hence move your Farseer out of that hole that your Grunt just left. The good thing that this had, this little like skirmish, and even though he did have to TP out from there, but it had a good point, which was that he was able to get out his second hero in time and put up his tier 2 buildings without a problem. So he chooses to put up 2 Spirit Lodges and go for Spirit Walkers, and directly at one Spirit Lodge research the Adept form. This is, if you go with one Spirit Lodge and you put out one Spirit Walker and then research Adept, it's like the human is going to be like pretty much tier 3 before you get the spell. I mean, I know I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's like pretty much what it feels like. It's like I think it's like another like a minute and a half or something at least that you need. And so, the main thing for the Orc player at this stage, of course, is always to level up the TC. He was leveling with the Farseer as well to start there, to get to level 3 at least, because level 1 wolves are really not so good anymore at this stage of the game. And so the level 2 wolves are really better. And here Insomnia did something really nice by using the Merc, the Shadow Priest, to dispel the wolf, which is something that more often you see human players do when, for example, on Twisted Meadows they fast creep the mercenary camp and then get Shadow Priest and then dispel water the water elementals of the opponent. So the mirror you see does a lot, but against Orc it's also kind of useful. And plus the priest will have a lot of more mana. So small kind of skirmish / creep check here, and Insomnia is really kind of dominating at this point. He used the bolt there to get the EXP from the creep, which, well, I mean, it's like, why not? Players who are not human usually say that the Archmage is a walking mana fountain, and so the Mountain King has infinite mana, which is not exactly true, but which is kind of true. And so in this case, he could use the bolt quite liberally. So right now, of course, very, very important to get level 3 on the Tauren Chieftain. And that is what Sierra is doing right now. He's leaving his Farseer relatively close to where his TC is creeping, so that he can like check where he's getting creep checked and use a speed scroll at least to get out. That's always the thing. As soon, well, of course, anyways, against humans you always have to have a speed scroll, but even more so, and also against other races, you have to have a speed scroll if you don't have a TP, because that's your way to get out there. If you look at the left side of the map, you see that Sierra put a peon next to Insomnia's expansion, and the reason for that is that, well, so he could use his wolves for creeping and didn't really have to keep on sending wolves all the time to the expansion to check whether there was an expansion building. And the other thing is that, well, of course, it was for scouting. And now the first, well, real small battle. It's like hero levels are pretty equal right now, but the TC did a really, really nice wave there, and all of Insomnia's units are kind of low. Militia is coming in for Insomnia. I guess that's was initially because he wanted to expand, but right now they're really not doing that hot because of Chain Wave. Even though they absorb a lot of damage, but Chain Wave still hits a lot of targets, so it doesn't really, I mean, it's not really that useful. And, well, not much to say here, except that the Spellbreakers are trying to take down the Spirit Walkers, and both of Insomnia's hero got kind of low, so he had to TP out. So right now, Sierra has the advantage. Well, I mean, he doesn't really have a major advantage, but he has a bit of an advantage because he has managed to push Insomnia back and also take a bit of the food advantage. And so this is a good time for him to start an expansion, and that's why he's gonna send a peon down to his expansion quite shortly. Well, there it is coming. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty standard in every matchup. And but the other thing that he knows is that he knows the army composition of Insomnia. I mean, he was thinking that Insomnia was going to go for mass casters, which is kind of the normal strat by human players these days. But now he also knows that Insomnia is switching to, I mean, adding a lot of Spellbreakers, and hence he will have to pump out a few more grunts. And actually, putting up a bestiary and putting up raiders is a good idea too. A bestiary at this stage of the game, meaning that both armies are starting to get over the 50 food limit, is anyways always a good idea, because the human might decide at this point to go to tier 3 and hence get air, and with well, Spirit Walkers and Grunts you won't have much of an anti-air. Right here, Insomnia is being a bit too greedy, because, well, I mean, it sort of does work out in the end for him, but he was staying a bit too long in this fight and losing a bit too much hit points on his units. His Archmage pretty much level 5, but on the other hand, TC and Farseer are 4.5 too, so at this stage, this is pretty good for the Orc player, because if the human continues with casters, well, the high-level Chain Wave, Chain Lightning, and Shockwave will really do a lot of damage. So that's really, really helpful for the Orc player. And for the human player, well, I mean, it's like the summons of the Archmage are not going to be quite as useful at this point, because there are a fair number of Spirit Walkers. And, well, of course, the MK is always a force to be reckoned with. And